Welcome into another episode of Valley Vibes. I'm Lindsay Smith from the Four Peaks Minibar, and today we are joined by Stephen PridGeon-Garner. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. First and foremost, I want to give you a little love. Mercury season is tipping off, and you are the host of the PHNX Mercury podcast. How are you feeling about the Merc season?
Well, not unlike the Suns did coming into last season with Matt Ishbia, they made some splashes of their own that added a lot of top-end talent with Natasha Cloud via free agency, Rebecca Allen via free agency as well, and then past that, Kalia Copper via trade. They've added a lot around Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner and Sophie Cunningham as well. So they got some high aspirations. They should be contending this season, and if all the things hit the way that they plan to with Nate Tibet's coaching, they could potentially see themselves in a championship round, not unlike the Suns did in 2021. So if you need that basketball void filled, if you're a Phoenix, just a general Phoenix sports fan, or if you just love basketball in general, you should be supporting the Phoenix Mercury. They have a high-end product that we're putting out on the court, and I'm looking forward to breaking all of that down on podcasts as well as with the other ways that I like to talk about the things going on the court.
Absolutely. So everybody make sure to check out the PHNX Mercury podcast with Stephen, and hopefully it'll be a lot more fun than the Suns talk that we're about to get into, because we've got some burning questions for you, Stephen. First and foremost, the biggest one that everyone has been asking pretty much all season long, but it's definitely jumped up in the last few weeks. Do the Suns need a point guard? Where do you stand on this argument?
I love to dive into the weeds on this one. Like, I always love the adage that there is no such thing as a dumb question, because I generally don't believe there is. Either you're gaining clarity on something or you're learning things from a different person's perspective, either of which are always valuable. That being said, I do not think the Suns need a point guard. I think they have multiple players that can toggle the role of point guard in different contexts of offense, especially when looking at things in a playoff perspective. And I think, again, if you're building towards what the Suns ultimately want to be, which is a champion, and you're looking at it in a playoff lens, you want the ball in your big three players' hands at all times, because naturally they're going to garner extra attention in respects that are specific to the style of play that they play with. And if you bring a point guard in the mix, that's going to add somebody else having the ball. It's going to take away time and usage from those three. And that's adverse to the things that you want to do in terms of where you want to be in your process. So, no, the Suns don't need a point guard, especially in a starting respect. However, the caveat is, if you would like a point guard for reserve roles, like somebody that's coming in as a sixth or seventh or eighth man that's playing when there's only two or just one of the big three on the floor, there's sense there. But if you're looking for somebody to come in and take the starting point guard position and move everybody else down the line from there, I don't think that's correct for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's kind of hot and cold, but everyone at least can agree on we definitely would like a point guard in a backup sense type of a situation, like you had mentioned, when not all three of the big three are on the court at the same time. All right, how do you feel about the big three? Some people feel like we need to move on from one of the big three. Some people think we should run it back with the big three and give them a second year. Where do you stand?
I think the big three should all return, and I think the pieces around them should be shapeshifted in the slightest bit to help facilitate to them better.
Yes, 100%. I mean, like, I understand that that's pretty much when it comes to the limitations around the new CBA. The only way to really make a big splash this offseason would be to move on from one of the big three, simply because you don't have many other assets to kind of tinker with. But there are still ways in which the Suns could kind of tinker around the edges in making this team look and feel a little bit different. But it would be tough. Either way, you're kind of in between a rock and a hard place on this one. When you look at the front office, Stephen, it's been a couple years since any major changes have been made. Would you like to see them shake things up from the front office side of things, maybe with a new general manager?
I would like to see that, but I would like to see it after this upcoming offseason. I think all of the front office decision makers, the puppet masters pulling the strings behind the scenes, the guys that wear the suits all the time, I think they all should be called to task this upcoming offseason. Naturally, they're being called to task with the second tax apron restraints and having to be creative in how they're going to look to add to the talent that they already have on the roster. But I also think there should be an onus put on them to do so, because time is of the essence. Kevin Durant's 35. Devin Booker is not the spring chicken that he's been almost his entire career in Phoenix. Bradley Beal is on the other side of 30 going into next season. So, you don't have forever. The window to win it can't be taken for granted. You have to have a certain level of urgency, and I think that level of urgency has to be felt from top to bottom in order for things to go the way that they desire for it to.
Absolutely. All right, last one. LeBron James to Phoenix, yay or nay?
How could you possibly say no to LeBron? That's my answer.
Right? I mean, listen, I know we're being a little delusional and having fun, but especially if LeBron wants to come to Phoenix on that vet min all day, every day, yes. Come on.
You could never say no to LeBron from a marketing standpoint, from an on-the-court product standpoint, leadership, skill and play on the floor. The dude is just a great human being, and you just don't pass up on those opportunities if they present themselves.
Yes, absolutely. We're trying to speak it into existence here, Stephen. That's what I'm doing. I'm manifesting right now with all of you guys who join us on Valley Vibes. So I appreciate you helping me in this journey.
Of course. And I mean, if Bronny James was coming through, that'll naturally help you get LeBron even more, So
Listen,
just throwing it out there.
It's a little delusional, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. We're just having fun this off season.
Anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett said.
Exactly. Stephen, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time and your opinions and thoughts around this Phoenix Suns team. Everybody, again, be sure to check out the PHNX Mercury podcast and, of course, give Stephen a follow on social at StayTrueS.3. Thanks again, Stephen.
Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon, all right?